it is live now.
Ooh.
Hello, everybody. Tonight we are having Megan as our guest speaker, and she's going to be talking about the 3 top priorities we need to have in our life. So I'm going to try to remain on. My son is with me again this evening, so if I need to go muted for a little while, I might. But I'm super excited for Megan to share with us. And I don't have any more. Can you give me a moment? Okay. He wants more logs for a toy that he doesn't even have. Anywho, so go ahead, Megan. You can go ahead and start.
Yay. Thanks, darling. I definitely wanted to touch base because most of us are so busy these days on like what priorities are in life and like how to establish them, because we all know that we can achieve so many things, but it's the alignment of those things that makes us the most fulfilled at the end of the day. You know, like if you climb the wrong ladder, or if you realize halfway up the ladder that it's leaned against the wrong wall, you're going to be unhappy when you get to the top, no matter how long it takes you to get there. So I want to address the idea of like stress and burnout, but also because we're mostly entrepreneurs, the fact that you cannot run a business if you're sick or if you're dead. So you have to take care of yourself. You have to fill your cup first, whether you're a mother, a business owner, a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, like whatever that is, you can't do your job. You can't do what you love to do if you're not here. And if you're not here, it's just you're not taking care of yourself. And I want to show you how easy it is too by prioritizing just by prioritizing, really. And when I ask people, I ask so many people, I ask at the most random times, and I always get a varying degree of answers. So when I ask what you think are your life essentials, what are the absolute most needed things in your life, especially when it comes to entrepreneurs, business owners, even parents, like what are your absolute most essentials? The top 3 answers that I get are typically like food, shelter, companionship. You know, like some people are like, I can't live without my dog, or like, I just need some friends, or, you know, like I need a house to live in, or I need some food. The really enlightened people might say like water and sleep, which most entrepreneurs definitely don't prioritize sleep. That's like one of the first things we cut. But other than like one very brilliant girl that I spoke to today, Miss Emily, never until very now have I ever heard anyone answer air as their number 1 priority, as their number 1 nutrient, as their number 1 anything. And when you actually take a look at it, you can live without your phone. It may be uncomfortable for the first 24 hours, but you can do it. You can live for weeks without food. Many of us live without shelter. And when you get down to it, you can't go very long without sleep. You start hallucinating. We definitely don't feel good. Even after one night of pretty shitty sleep, you don't feel good the next day. Sleep is like number 3 on my list of 3. You absolutely need sleep. And if you're not prioritizing sleep, if you're not guarding your sleep with like the utmost ferocity, then you're kind of missing out on not only productivity, but clarity and focus the next day and every day after that, because you don't typically catch up on sleep either. And it affects your immune system. It can affect your entire biological system, really, because every single thing on this planet, plants included, sleep. Everybody needs sleep. And we're the only ones kind of stupid enough to think that we can override that need. And we're the only ones stupid enough to actually try it. You know, we need caffeine to get us through the day. We need like alcohol to bring us down at night. Like we use all these things that are really just not serving us at the end of the day. But the thing we need a little bit more than sleep is actually water, because every single biological function requires water. And I don't really know anyone who isn't chronically dehydrated at least some point in their lives, if not the whole thing. So I feel like genuinely, you're not sick, you're thirsty, right? At the end of the day, even the pharmaceutical pills that you take with the glass of water, it's probably the water that's helping your headache and not the Advil, right? Like at the end of the day, just to kind of give you a little background of like where this information is coming from. I actually was a chemist, as a pharmaceutical chemist in the pharmaceutical industry. And then I found real healthcare as a holistic nutritionist. I'm a personal trainer. I teach yoga and I do all these things to help people be healthier. But at the end of the day, if you don't care about you, you won't do it. So you have to realize that you can't run your business without that self-care piece. You know, if you don't prioritize sleep, I can't make you. No matter how many times a day you come see me at a gym or how often I coach you, I can't put you to bed, right? I can't make you turn off your phone and go to bed at like 8 or 9 or 10 o'clock. You might stay up on your phone till midnight, right? But that's not serving you at the end of the day, right? So many parents love their kiddie free time, you know? It's like, oh, kids go to bed at 7 or 8. Mommy's time between 8 and 11 or 8 and 12 or 8 and 3, whatever, however long you're scrolling. But those really quiet hours in the evening are also quiet in the morning. And you're actually a lot more rested and actually physiologically well if you sleep earlier in the night. Like you produce more melatonin, you do all these things before 10 p.m. And if you're doing that after 10 p.m., after 11 p.m., after 12 p.m., you're actually losing on restoration time, no matter how long you sleep for. So number 3 and number 2 would definitely be sleep and water. And there's lots of ways to get more water. Like I always carry a bottle, like a mason jar. I'm also Canadian, so everybody always asks if this is moonshine. Run with it. Just,
That's
yes,
same
it
thing
is.
here. Same thing here.
Totally. So it's like, I'll be like, no, it's vodka or whatever, you know, I'll run with it. But if you have it on hand, you're a lot more likely to remember to do it, right? Because then it's there and you're like, oh yeah, crap, I gotta have a sip. So as soon as your mouth gets dry, right? Now like Emily reaches for her water. So as soon as your mouth gets dry, or as soon as you remember, oh yeah, crap, but it's right there. So you'll reach for it and you'll be a lot more likely to do that. You'll also be a lot less likely to reach for something else. So if I have to get up from my workspace or whatever to go get a glass of water, and I also run into like a glass of juice or a pop or a vending machine, likely water is not going to be my top choice, right? So number 1 thing is have it with you, but number 2, like make sure it's there, but it has to also be clean because you won't drink it if it doesn't taste good. So that's why I am such an advocate for like never, ever, ever drink bottled water because it just tastes like chemicals. Most municipalities use fluoride and chemicals like chlorine and stuff in their water. So again, your kid's not going to drink chlorinated water if it tastes like pool, you know? So you've got to get a good filter. Or if you're really lucky, you could set up reverse osmosis or something. But my Berkey water filter literally goes with me everywhere. I don't even have a travel size and that sucker travels with me. Like I love it. I'm absolutely addicted to it. But it wasn't really until my niece was 6 at the time, I think, when we got it. And she took a big sip of it and her eyes just lit up and she was like, this is the best water ever. And I was like, I'm sold, dude. Like whatever they did, like it's the best water ever. So, and up until that time, it was hard to get her to drink water. She always wanted grape juice was her jam, right? So it was all about grape juice. Now it's not even watered down grape juice. She just wants water. So you have to make it so that it doesn't taste like chemicals, right? It doesn't matter whether it tastes good. Like if you think that bottled water tastes good, like try filtered water. You know what I mean? Like or if you don't think you like the taste of water, it's because there's chemicals in it and your body's kind of telling you something that like, ooh. It's like if you don't like walnuts because you think they're bitter, but it's mainly because they're rancid and that's your body and nature's way of saying, don't eat these. You know, and you're just to think you don't like walnuts. Well, it's just like you've never had fresh walnuts, right? So like if you've never had fresh, clean water, then you just assume you don't like it, right? So you got to drink clean water, but it's always got to be with you as well for that visual stimulation. And then between meals, make sure you're not drinking with meals because then you're just diluting stuff and sloshing protein around in there and it could actually dysfunction your digestive system. So lots of water between meals, but the number 1 time to drink a meal, first thing when you wake up. If you I'm like forever telling my clients, as second you wake up, drink a big glass of water and maybe go for a walk if you can. Get some air, get some sunlight, and just take a walk around the block. Even if it's just a walk down to like the end of your driveway and back, or just a walk around your building, wherever you are, walk around somewhere. Even if it's just like up and down your hallway, if you live in an apartment, you know, just take a little walk and get your blood flow moving. I guarantee you jumping jacks are better than coffee to wake you up. Okay. So if you get your blood flow moving after a glass of water, you will feel super fantastic and refreshed, but you have to have a good night's sleep. So a great day starts with a good night's sleep. And if you cannot sleep because we're stressed, right? So there's so many things that could set us up for that anxiety piece and that stress piece, like sugar intake all day sets you up to be anxious. An unbalanced fatty acid, like good healthy fats in your diet, can set you up to be anxious. There's so many things throughout the day that can set you up to be anxious. But if you really take your sleep as an absolute necessity and absolute priority, then at the very least, shut down the lights. Like this is super bright for me, but I'm usually shutting down the lights by like 8:30. Everything is off. Like Wi-Fi is off, because Wi-Fi is still radio signals and microwaves like floating around in the house. Like it's still disruptive. So we want to make sure all the lights are off when you actually sleep. When you go into your bedroom, it's completely dark, because yes, your alarm clock still affects your sleep. They've proven a light as small as a little laser can actually affect your sleep. And it's not just the photoreceptors in your eyes, it's all over your skin too. I'm a huge fan of like sleep masks. If you live anywhere with like outdoor lights, or if you live in the city and your blinds are not as good or something, then sleep masks can be really great. The only thing I do not like about sleep masks, which is kind of unfortunate, is that in the morning you don't get that daylight thing. So I actually have, my mother-in-law is amazing, little seamstress. So I get these little eye pillows that are filled with, these ones are filled with flax. You can fill them with like flax and like lavender. You could do lavender essential oils on here, or whatever you want. What we did with these ones is we put them in like a little pouch so that you could actually take it out in case you get mascara or something on here. You could actually wash it, and it's not just like, oh crap, now it's garbage. But I just put this over my eyes at night, and then as I roll and toss around, it falls off. So it's not like stuck to my face when I wake up, and then suddenly you're blinded because it's, 8:00 in the morning. You're like, oh no, like I'm usually up with the sun. So at least if my eyes aren't covered, I can do that like naturally, as opposed to being blinded at 8 a.m. That sucks. But the thing that I've noticed when it comes to actually getting ready for bed, other than the lights and the Wi-Fi and all the stimulation and stuff, the best thing to do is stretch out your muscles. I explained this to a colleague earlier. I pulled my sock off, and I said to every mother out there, if I put this in the laundry, this is never coming clean, right? This is still going to be dirty, nasty mess when you pull that out of the dryer, because you've shoved it in like this. But if I pull this sock apart and put it in the laundry, it's actually going to come out clean. The same thing with your muscles. If you go to bed tight and tense, guess how you wake up? Tight and tense and stiff and fucking sore, and you hate life. So I want to make sure that everybody gets into their body and like do a little bit of stretching, but do it with your breath. If you take deep breathing seriously, you will not only be able to dramatically, and I mean immediately, shift any anxiety going on whatsoever, because you got to think, I think we've all been lied to when we're told that the brain runs the show. I think it's just a switchboard operator. It's literally a blind pilot that's being driven by every other brilliant thing below our eyes. So, because I don't know anyone that would be able to continue breathing if it was up to their brain. You know what I mean? If you had to remember to breathe, how often would you have passed out? Right? So if you had to think about beating your heart, I think I would have skipped a few beats. Just a couple. If I had to actually sit here and calculate how to digest my food, I'd be fucking lost, right? Sorry, I keep dropping the F-bomb too. We can mute that maybe? I don't know. Sorry, like I'm super passionate about this self-care piece, because you can't take care of your business. You can't be creative. You can't do anything. You can't be a mom. You can't be a person if you're not taking care of yourself. You know what I mean? You're just a zombie or you're dead, one or the other. So I want to make sure that, because it's the entrepreneurs that are going to change the world, right? We're the free thinkers. We're the ones that are going to create change, but we can't create change if we're in brain fog, right? So that's where the breathing can not only dramatically change your actual physical anxiety and your actual state, but it's going to help you get better rest, because you'll actually be in the parasympathetic state to actually get into some sleep, get into those brainwaves, you know, pull up some melatonin because the lights are off. And then you can get up feeling refreshed because you stretched and you actually had a good night's sleep, rather than waking up frantic and tight and, you know, having to get out the house, but you're like limping along trying to grab a coffee on the way, right? So it literally is about the prioritization of like, yes, we do have to eat good food, and yes, we do have to exercise, and yes, we do have to do all these things. But as a person who's a nutritionist and a personal trainer and teaches yoga, at the end of the day, if you're not breathing, none of that other stuff matters, right? And if we go back to the blind pilot, what your breathing pattern is telling the blind pilot is what's going on up there, right? So if you take little shallow breaths, the blind pilot thinks I'm stressed. If I start open mouth breathing, I could easily feel stressed out, like immediately, right? But that goes the other way. If you can, you know, if you can really slow down your exhales and take a big inhale, you can immediately shift the other way. You can immediately relax. So if you try that a few times, I know it sounds ridiculous when people are like, oh, just breathe or just relax. You know, like calm down has a 0% success rate, but it's true when you actually learn how to breathe. There's multiple techniques. You could do visualization techniques to shut off the monkey mind. You could do alternate nostril breathing. We could go into a few things. If we ever wanted to like do a breath workshop or something like that, we could totally do it. But the purpose of tonight is literally just to highlight the fact that like you cannot do anything without breathing. So we want to make sure that we're at least not controlling it, because I feel like that's the big problem. We're micromanaging everything, but at least being self-aware of it and where it goes. So I urge everybody, I guess, to kind of figure out where you breathe. You know what I mean? If you put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly and take a big breath in, what happens? Do your hands move? Are you a chest breather? Are you a belly breather? Do your shoulders come up near yours? Just notice what's happening, because if you watch a newborn breathe, which you'll be able to do soon, I'm so excited. When you watch a newborn breathe, they use their whole body. And you were born perfect. And then some shit happened along the way, and we layered on some I'm not good enoughs. And then we develop these other patterns, right? We develop short breathing. We develop shallow breaths. We develop belly breathing. We develop all these things. And we don't ever really check back in on the only two things you ever had to negotiate, and that's breath and gravity. So really, at the end of the day, your only two stressors is breath and gravity, right? So when all that other stuff is coming at you, Brendon Burchard said the most amazing thing, and I will never forget it. Your email inbox is just a convenient organization system of somebody else's demands. That's it. And if they think the world is going to end if you don't reply, I think they're wrong. Right? Like, you got to really figure out like what is the world ending stuff that needs to happen, and then I'll do that after I breathe. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. You can't run around frantic. And I feel like, I'm going to paraphrase and I'll probably mess it up, but like, you can't see your reflection in boiling water, right? So same thing, like when you're angry or superheated or when we're reacting to things, you can't see the big picture because you're reacting to many emergencies. But if you take time to breathe and pull yourself out of that chaos, and instead of leaning into it, you'll actually be able to pull yourself and see the bigger picture and then go, wow, yeah, you know what? This thing that I'm stressing about really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's not going to matter. You know what I mean? And how many days have we wasted because we had a shitty 5 minutes? Right? How many days have we dwelled on something because that one little thing happened? And then we just spent all day dwelling on it. And then we're like, oh, we had a crappy day. It wasn't productive. Well, yeah, because you focus on the one thing that wasn't productive or the one thing that set you back rather than all the things we're grateful for. Right? I always go back to the body in every one of my yoga classes. I'll weave in a story about how you need to be grateful for everything below your eyes. Because like I said, you wouldn't breathe, you wouldn't beat your heart, you don't know how to digest your food. But if it wasn't for your feet, where would you not have been? If it wasn't for your hands making the things and doing the things that you do every day, could you imagine? You know, what if you had no arms? Like the things that we need to be grateful for, like I am grateful for my big toes. You know what I mean? But we don't give those things. So it's really hard to talk to somebody and tell them what to do when they're like, oh, just help me be healthy. But I'm like, yeah, but you're not healthy up here because you didn't prioritize your sleep. Do you know what I mean? So it's really hard to like try to kick your ass in the gym if you're tired. Like, it's not going to work, and we're not going to have a good squat day. You know, if you're exhausted or if you didn't drink any water, of course you're going to be tight and sore. You got beef jerky going on in there. You know what I mean? Like, it's insane. I've had people pass out because they're like, oh yeah, I skipped breakfast. I'm like, you could have told me, you know? But they also skip other things that at the end of the day, I know that you love this line of like, we all feel like we're too busy driving. So we say we can't stop for gas. Like, that's going to catch up with you in the long run. If you can't stop for gas because you're too busy driving, think about it. Like, that's not going to work out for you, you know? Did you, just before I kind of like, you're muted, by the way. So in case, I wanted to see if you had anything to like add to that, or like if you had any questions so far.
No, I think everything's really good so far. And it's helping me, as you know, I've been struggling with making some priority of myself in my life. And yeah, so it's all been super good and helpful for me. So I hope it's helpful for everybody else too.
Yeah. And I mean, like, there's only a few principles that we really have to remember. It literally is air, water, sleep in that order. Then, you know, like vegetation. You have to eat plants. I'm sorry, but that's where all the power is. Like, there is power in plants. I got out of the pharmaceutical industry because that is sick care. I got into holistic nutrition and gardening because that is healthcare. But healthcare is self-care. And that's where, like, I can't tell you what to eat. I can only teach you what's in your food so that you can make the educated choice. But it really comes back to the body awareness, because if I say strawberries are awesome and you eat strawberries and they don't make you feel awesome, then that's not something for me to tell you to eat. You know what I mean? But how many people eat eggs because their personal trainer told them it had protein in it, or eat whey protein because my trainer said I need more, or whatever? It's like, oh, but it makes you feel like crap. And it, you know, like we stop listening to our body and we start looking for this guru. And I feel like it comes from our childhoods, where we spend our entire childhoods wishing we were an adult so that we didn't have anyone tell us what to do. But the ironic part is that we spend our entire adulthood looking for someone to tell us what to do. Huh, interesting. So it's like, it's this paradigm of like, okay, but did you know that you have a guru in you that tells you what to do, and you've just shushed her and then went, who else? You know? So it's this really hard thing to watch people struggle with, because we all want to focus on diet and exercise. Like, that's why I became a personal trainer and a nutritionist, because I was like, that's where the health coaching is. But I realized it's a mindset. It's a self-care piece. And we've justified, and we've should all over ourselves about why we can't, why we're too busy, why this, that, and the other thing, you know, like why I can't get to bed on time, or why I can't sleep, or why I can't eat healthy. Eating healthy is too expensive, or whatever the story is. But at the end of the day, you're making choices that aren't serving you, and yet you didn't justify those. Do you know what I mean? You'll justify like why, you know, I've had a client say, oh, I only stop at the cupcake store if there's a parking spot up front. But if there's not, I won't go in. But you didn't tell me you circled the block 11 times until you found one. Like, these justification things, like, this is crazy. You know, I had a client was like, oh, only buy ice cream if it's on sale. But then you're like, but it was on sale last week and I didn't get it. So I should get it now because I missed it last week. Dude, we do this stuff. And I love the saying, everything happens for a reason, because it's true, because we make one. You know what I mean? Like, we come up with the reason that it happened so that we feel comfortable, because as humans, we don't like uncertainty. It makes us stressed. The thing that really makes us stressed is like the lack of air, food, water, shelter, those like physical needs. But other than that, it's uncertainty, like lack of clarity, those types of things. The lack of information stresses us out. So we tend to dive into that. And then we live in this land of learning without action steps, right? And all I want to share is the only action steps you ever need to take. Like, if you have a treadmill, it's probably just a clothes hanger, like get rid of it. If you have a gym membership, it's probably just coming out of your account for nothing. Get rid of it. Breathe, drink water, and sleep. You will forever, and go for a walk. Like, you will forever be healthy if you just take care of you and fill your cup first, and say no when you want to say no, and don't say yes when you want to say no. And, those sorts of boundary pieces and all that stuff. Because, I'm a professional student. I've been in school for over 25 years. I've learned a lot, but of all the things I know, the only thing I'm absolutely 100% certain of is that time is an illusion and self-love is a necessity. That is it. And if you do not know how to love yourself, and thanks for sharing that author, because that 5 Love Languages book is amazing, Gary Chapman. It really does help you. It could be helpful if you have a struggle with your relationship and it helps you understand them. But for all intents purposes, you cannot understand your relationship if you don't understand you. Like, if you don't know how to love yourself, you can't teach someone else how to love you. So I feel like it's so important, that self-awareness piece and that self-love piece, that we need to really reflect on. How do I need to be loved? Is it showered with gifts, or is it, words of affirmation? Do I need to be told I love you? Or do I need to be, given a flower? For me personally, it's your time. Like, if you are just willing to, like when I was suffering my concussion and I was just like alone on the couch, I would have paid money just to have you sit at my feet, just to be there in the same room as me. You know what I mean? Like, my thing is time, personal quality time. Like, I need your time. I don't want any of the gifts. I don't care about, the diamonds and the flowers and puppies. Okay, I will totally take a puppy. If you want to give me a puppy, I will take the puppy. But other than puppies, like, gifts are not for me. I need the personal time. I need that personal connection, right? And I feel like that's also what so many entrepreneurs need, because we tend to live in a bubble at home. We tend to work by ourselves, which is why I feel like this community is just like hands down the most valuable thing. Like, if you take care of yourself and then you have others around you to help lift you up, you are the most wealthy person there is. Literally. If you have your health, you have wealth, right? So, like, you can't buy. The wealthiest people in the world know you cannot buy your health. It doesn't matter how many doctors you know, how many transfusions of blood you get. You cannot buy your health. You have to earn it. So if you take very small steps and actually earn your health, and actually be part of a community of like-minded people that aren't pulling you down, but they're lifting you up, then it's literally been the most blessed that I've felt, just to be part of. Like, I love Kelly. I love that I know nothing about accounting, and I've come across this lady that's like, sweet, I want to help people like me work with their books. You know what I mean? And then I can reach out and be like, hey, can I help you with your health stuff? Like, it's such a collaborative effort. But I also feel like I need to talk to real people some days and not just look at a computer screen, and not just like, I don't count calories, luckily, so I don't have to worry about like numbers and food. But I do have to, like, work with a lot of computer stuff or behind a screen. Even just now, like, even if I have somebody on the other side, it's not a personal connection, it's not personal contact, and it's not that collaboration sort of masterminding thing. It's like a client professional relationship. So I feel like having a group of friends, that isn't your buddies that, you get pizza and beer with on a Friday, but people who actually are in the entrepreneurial space who want to, you know, not necessarily hustle anymore, but they need that sort of, you know, like head down on a Friday night sort of mentality, and that their buddies are going for pizza. So we need the people who are building our businesses. We need those other people who are also like, yay, stay in with us and, you know, get your work done, because then on Saturday you can go have fun, you know, because you got a good night's sleep tonight, and then you could go have fun all day Saturday or whatever, you know? So it's all about the little priorities, but you almost have to self-reflect and ask, if you're not willing to prioritize your sleep, why spend your money elsewhere? You know, like, don't go bother getting a gym membership, or like, if you're just kind of living in that, or lost in the land of learning, you know? Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. It's just like prioritizing air, water, and sleep, and community. And then everything else will come, you know? I'm just gonna see. Ooh, last little bit. And I wanted to remind you, your body benefits from movement and your mind benefits from stillness. So if you get to bed at the end of the day and you're like, still buzzing, ask yourself, have you moved enough today? And if you have, if you were like, oh man, I went for a hike and I did all this stuff, then you need moments of stillness. You need to breathe, you need to sit, and you need to shut off the monkey, you know, that's wondering if penguins have knees. And why do they call it chili if it's hot? And all these things that occur to us at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, all this ridiculousness. I wonder what happened there. So this stuff happens, but then you just need to do some alternate nostril breathing or some breath visualization or some sort of breathing technique. But if you're like, no, dude, I sat around all day and I'm like a little kid who's been stuck in, you know, for recess, then you need to move. Then you need to like go do yoga or just literally wiggle. I do meditation with kids, and the purpose of yoga is so that you can sit in meditation without wiggling, literally. So with kids, instead of just doing yoga, because that's hard enough as it is, and then doing meditation, we just wiggle and dance and do all the crazy stuff and get all the wiggles out. And then they can sit in meditation, and you should see them. They're brilliant. And they're sponges, and they're like, tell me more, give me this, how much water? You know, like, they're fantastic. So it's just, I want to pass off the stuff I'm doing with the kids to people that are in business, because like I said, entrepreneurs are going to change the world. So I love that you're doing this.
Thank you.
Yay.
I will unmute myself. He's like starting to get crazy now.
Yeah.
Waited right till the end when I needed to talk again. Oh, thanks, Bug. What are you doing with these? All right, put them all right here first. Oh, you want me to hold all of them? Okay. I'm going to be the holder of Monster Trucks. Well, that was all super, super, super helpful. And
Yay.
I really hope that people got a benefit from it. And Megan is one of my favorite people. I love everybody in the directory, but there are definitely some that I look to as experts, and Megan is one of them. So I really love that she's taken the time to come on and share her expertise with us. And yeah, so thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you so much for having me, darling.
Yes.
I love chatting with you. It's fabulous.
Yes.
I love sharing. So this is
good. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Say goodnight to John for me.
I will.
Okay, give him big hugs. And then go shut all the lights off and go to bed.
I'm very tired. That's why I was yawning multiple times. Okay.
We'll see you soon.